Yeah, let's talk about Vegas. Okay. Welcome to On the Verge, the newest show that's replacing my radio show. It's going to show up on YouTube. Joining me today is longtime client, former college golfer, and known around the world now as Real Coach Lee. Lee Wilson, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So one of the things that's going on, obviously, we got the coronavirus, and all sports have been halted since for the PGA Tour, the Players Championship after day one. And we're headed into the start of the season next week, which is going to be the real kickoff for my show. Well, the world is a very different place than it was 2.5 months ago. How important do you feel like golf is, or sport is, to the country now that it's been taken away for such an extended period of time?
Oh man, you know, it's not just the entertainment part, but it represents so much money to the country.
Yeah.
And it also represents a lot of people who are working towards something. They have a goal. And especially being a father of two people who are working very hard at golf goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have not just not being able to see their heroes on TV, but also having the place where they work taken away.
Yeah.
Because golf's not like basketball where if you have a hoop in the driveway, you can just keep practicing. You need facilities usually to get some meaningful practice done. And so for golf anyway, couldn't practice. I mean, you go out in the yard and just kind of chip and you'd pitch inside them or you'd putt inside of the hardwood. Lots of other things, like for example, what we look forward to in the fall, football, it's just that little nips in the air. College football's coming. When I first heard they were talking about potentially not even having college football or having college sports, I thought about the fall and college football, and I was so depressed, the idea that we wouldn't have it, we couldn't watch it on TV, that we couldn't go to the games. And so it was more than just the health concern. It was also we're losing something that's so special to so many of us.
It's like a fabric of our country.
Yeah.
College football and football in general. That's the thing that's hard for me to fathom is it possible that something that has mattered for so long could all of a sudden just be deemed not important out of so-called the importance of this pandemic? We could argue whether that's the case or not, but for the point of what we're talking about, it's happening, and we have a concern that if you're concerned because of the virus, you're concerned about everybody staying well, and if you're concerned for the loss of what we're used to having, that's also a concern. So I think that you're right. It's so many things were stripped away, and Tennessee was lucky because we were golf was deemed essential. So we could keep playing. But for a while, it was a little bit touch and go. We were going to be able to do it or not. So golf has played a huge role. I think golf has won in the coronavirus. Wouldn't you say?
With one major exception. First time in your life, the first time in my life, no Masters in April.
Yes, but the bonus, I get the Masters on my birthday, November 13th. So I'm going because I hope it's the only one. It'll be something to remember for the rest of my life.
And will we have azaleas? We won't have azaleas.
We will not have azaleas. We'll just have colored leaves, but there aren't many leaves because it's all pine trees.
It'll be fascinating to see Augusta in November because unless you played, and you've played, one of us has played it.
Yeah.
Unless you played it in November, I have no idea what it looks like in November.
So I did. I played November 5th and 6th, 2005. And what I expect to see at the Masters is a hodgepodge of cold and warm. So I played the first day. It was 77 degrees, south wind, beautiful day, a little windy because a storm was coming. And it was the normal wind. So the normal wind, all the par fives are downwind or have some help to them. And it's what we're used to seeing in April. But the second day, the storm blew in and the wind came out of the north, and it was 55 degrees when we teed off. And it never got into the 60s, and every par five played into the wind. So in events like the Masters, when they had the north wind or bad weather, that's when we got Mike Weir. That's when we get Zach Johnson. That's when we get Trevor Immelman. And so the shorter hitters win because nobody can get to the par fives in two.
It levels the playing field.
It levels the playing field. So I expect to see that piece play a unique role in this Masters. And I believe that it's possible that a short hitter could get their first green jacket or for Zach Johnson or whoever else, their second one. And that's a story.
That. Yeah.
That's a story in itself. And once again, I hope it's the only time that we ever have a November Masters. But that is a story. I'll never forget that. Like I hit all the par fives into the first day, and I couldn't have gotten close to a par five except 13. I did hit that one in 2, but I couldn't get to 2, 8, or 15 into the wind. It wasn't a smart play. I mean, it would be a 1 in 100 shot. And I think that that's going to open up, the shorter hitters. And I'm always wondering if this, just a change and a little bit of something different, could be the impetus that allow Rory to complete the career Grand Slam, or is it going to give Tiger another chance to repeat and get number 6 for the Masters and get one shot closer to Jack in the total major count? But I'm very fascinated to see what's going to happen. And I think that's the super highlight for me for 2020. And when it comes to golf, is the November Masters.
And that's big time experience talking there, because I wouldn't even thought about the weather.
Yeah.
Other than it might be a little colder. I used to live in Augusta.
Really?
Just before I met you, I came up here from Augusta. And I can tell you, Augusta winters are crazy. You can go from sweating in your car one day to bundling up, not too dissimilar from Tennessee, except that definitely have those warmer days. So that's going to be interesting to see how extreme the weather could be. We could talk about an 80-degree weather day and
47, yeah, like nothing.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool. The other thing I wanted to discuss in the preview show to the preview is golf has had 2 exhibition events.
Yeah.
One held at one of the greatest golf courses in the world, Seminole, with Rory and DJ Fowler and Matt Wolff. And then the other one was with Tiger and Phil, the match part 2 with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. As a golf spectator, how did you enjoy each of those events?
Oh, I thought it was the coolest thing. And I kept thinking about what it opens up. Who else could we see? Like you and I talked about a little bit at dinner tonight, Michael Jordan. Could we see Michael Jordan?
And Steph Curry.
Something like that.
Yeah, that'd be
playing
awesome.
Against another. Or could we see Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Larry Bird? Who else could it be? Zach Johnson? That would be awesome. Jordan versus Bird on the golf course. So it opens up, because so many athletes play golf, so many celebrities play golf, it becomes more of the reality show of sports that we don't get to see. With football, you don't know exactly what's being said from coach to player. You're definitely a passive observer. But what I thought while I was watching, I thought, this is a reality show.
Yeah.
You can hear them talking, thinking, and you're getting to learn things. I thought that was really interesting, because if I remember right, I think it was Tiger was explaining a shot. And I got to learn a little something.
Yeah.
So that was different. But I really think that that's the wave of the future.
I think that we just got a dose, because once again, PGA Tour players are private contractors. So obviously with the blessing of the PGA Tour, but even if not, I almost think that YouTube has the ability to create a different media stream and a power broker within the sporting world, because you could have a Tiger Woods page and they'll have a camera allotted to follow Tiger all 18 holes. It's only Tiger. You see Tiger like eating his banana and peanut butter jelly sandwich, drinking his water, and you're following all over every shot, and you just follow. All you see is Tiger or Rory or DJ or Phil Mickelson. I know in the conversations that I had as a member of the Golf Channel teaching staff, that one of the things that they were concerned about as the new contract came up is how big of a player YouTube could be, and it could be a derailer to the Golf Channel and the PGA Tour because of how much money YouTube could throw at it, and also the uniqueness of the private contractor, not so much like in the NBA or NFL where they're working for the team. There is no team. They're all private contractors. So I think that, I know that when you start looking at how much money was raised for COVID-19, all their charities within Manning and Brady and Tiger and Phil. It's a lot of money that was raised. Well, that's for a specific cause and a specific event, and it was a wonderful way for those people to give back. But I guarantee you, all four of them were like going,
Yeah.
I think we might have found something. And that's powerful. I thought the medalist, and they got a little bit of rain. The weather wasn't that great for that event, but I thought that added a little bit of spice to it. But I really thought that the McElroy DJ versus Ricky and Matt Wolf, because it was at Seminole, that made it compelling. But to see like those kind of personalities, like there are three people in that group that are kind of new age, fun. They tell funny stories. They're engaging to the community, and then there's DJ, who doesn't really have much of a personality. He's a great golfer, but he admitted before he even teed off that he'd only hit golf balls 2 times after the Players Championship was canceled. So he was rusty, and he played terrible. He probably shot 4 over and was really a non-factor. So that's kind of get thrown out. But I thought the amount of money that was raised, the buzz that was kicked up by it, I guarantee you, because I think Tiger is the needle.
Yeah.
He is the needle. I mean, he's the biggest thing that there is. Yeah. And really nobody's in shouting distance of Tiger, but Rory probably is the second, because he's so uber talented and he's way more engaging than Tiger was when Tiger was the Tiger that we know. So I think that they're kind of like, I think there's an outlet here.
You know, I thought it was really similar to boxing, the exhibition, where you have a heavyweight champion who's going to give somebody a shot, like Rocky. You know, Apollo Creed, the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, giving an opportunity to this no-name to fight him, even though it wasn't a sanctioned fight, but it would give him the credibility, and then he became, in the movie, the heavyweight champion of the world. So what if we have something like that, where a no-name gets the chance to play Tiger? To me, when I was watching, I thought that would be incredible. And they set it up like a fight. Tiger Woods versus, and it's nobody you've ever heard of. Yeah. It's some guy at a country club, that everybody raves about, and somehow they pick him based on certain qualifications, and he's going to get to try to play Tiger, maybe head to head. Yeah. Like a Shell's World of Golf, Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, like we used to have. Yeah. But that would be really, really something different for golf, is to give that kind of opportunity, because then you're opening up sponsors exemptions and everything in the PGA events. And especially if he unseats Tiger, if he beats Tiger head to head, he wouldn't be unseating him. That would be very attractive, I think, for sponsors to be able to get behind the guy and have their logo on his shirt, because he would be known as the guy who beat Tiger, if that really happens. Yeah. But that's another cool thing that could happen. Set up like, no doubt, like pro fighting.
So like every event has opportunity cost. So there's plenty of negative in the COVID-19, but we're on a Zoom situation. Zoom has benefited greatly by COVID-19,
like Amazon
and Walmart and Target and all those places. There's positives and negatives to everything. So I think that it turned out to be, I guarantee you, those names are all like, And I'm not even sure that Matt Wolf isn't the one that has the biggest advantage, because he's not a superstar yet. He doesn't have to worry about what Nike might think or what TaylorMade might think, or because he's not big enough, but he is cool enough, and he's got the most unique swing on the tour, and he's California cool, and he worked with George Gankis, who's the California coolest teacher out there. So there's a little bit of something that he might be like, these old collegers might not be able to take advantage of this, but I might be able to. And there's no question it's the future of where we're headed. And it's going to be more independent contractors, going to be more money in their pocket. And why wouldn't they be interested? The PGA Tour players are that way anyway. So that they're just looking for what's best for them.
Yeah, definitely. And it does set up too, you didn't have to have a crowd live there watching to make it interesting TV. Which that was really a big thing for me when they were talking about having even basketball. They're talking about having an NBA with no crowd, no people watching. Like, that'd be so odd to watch a basketball game with no cheers, when things happen, just to hear the shoes squeak on the turf, and the ball dribble. That would just be so eerie and creepy. But then you see this, and it's like, this could happen with or without a crowd. still be pretty darn interesting.
Yeah. So I listened to a podcast with Jay Billis and Kirk Herbstreit that was done by the Golf Channel. And they both said that they're already doing events where they're not live at the event. They're broadcasting from home or from ESPN, not actually at the event. And it is very possible to put in crowd noise so that it doesn't seem so strange. And all of those things are on the table because we don't really know. We're speculating that everything's going to be relatively normal. And we might see, I've heard in certain areas of the country that are heavily infected by the coronavirus that there might be, 50% of the stadium can be filled and you have to space out a little bit more or something like that. But then there's other places like Texas A&M said, we're going to have 100,000 people and we don't care. So it's just more of, there's a lot of moving parts to it. But I sense that when golf gets going again, and it's going to be one of the first to get going because basketball is going to start up relatively soon at Disney, all 28 teams. It's going to be kind of a playoff system devised. That's at the end of July. NFL won't start. In baseball, they can't figure it out because the owners want one thing and the players want another. And the owners are trying to put more money in their pocket and not pay the players. And the players are like, we want to get paid for what we do. There's a lot of, obviously it's all about the money, but golf's going to be the first one back. And we're going to, because it's such a compressed schedule now, we're going to see all the best players a lot coming up. And I expect to see some burnout too, because from now, starting next week at the Colonial, all the way through to the Masters. And there's going to be a hiatus after the Ryder Cup to the Masters, where I think everybody's going to stick their head in a bucket of ice. But from now to the Ryder Cup, there are 2 majors, 4 World Golf Championships, the Memorial, and now the new event. There's 2 tournaments in a row, Memorial, coming up. It's going to be hardcore all the way up to the Ryder Cup. And then the Ryder Cup with no fans is already being debated as a no-go. I'm not even sure that we're even going to have it, but I expect we will. I just wonder if they're going to have fans or not. I think that they, at the end, there's going to be so much clamoring for it that they will. I think that one of the obviously the most interesting piece is how much Tiger going to play. Because Tiger looked like a virtuoso in that event. He drove it as good as I've ever seen him drive it. Now, granted, it's a golf course he's played 1,000 times. He's a member medalist. It's where he works on his game. But still, it looked like Tiger of old. Like Royal Melbourne at the President's Cup, that was like a Tiger Woods from like 2000 that we saw there. So we know that if he's healthy, he can still win at any time, any place, anywhere. But he can't seem to stay healthy 2 weeks in a row. His back starts to bother him. So we know he's not going to play a gigantic schedule. What's he going to play? Memorial, the U.S. Open, and the PGA Championship, and the Ryder Cup and the Masters. He's going to play 5 times and miss out on all the other things? Maybe. But I bet we see Koepka and Rory almost every week because there's huge events. There's almost no downtime after the first 4 tournaments. It's PGA Championship, World Golf Championship, another World Golf Championship pretty close after that, and then the U.S. Open, and then Ryder Cup. Bang, 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 on top of each other. This is obviously a very unique scenario, but the good thing is that we're going to get a lot of great golf and a lot of the best players every single week going forward. So that can't hurt.
To pull in another sport, I don't think this is being talked about anymore, at least I haven't been hearing about it, but when they were thinking that a lot of maybe the states that were hit hard were not going to have any kind of crowd gatherings or any sports, there was talk of, for example, the SEC. We want to carry on. We want to play no matter what. Well, they pitched, at least some people were talking about this idea of we may see a football season where all we see is the SEC playing each other. Like that would be the NCAA season because they were the only, apparently they thought that the SEC would be willing to do that. Yeah. And so they were talking about, we may just see the SEC play each other all year and the other conferences stay out. That would have been weird, but there would be something novel about it as well, just to see the SEC play like that. I don't know how they would do. They couldn't have a real national championship, and there's a lot of question marks there. But that would have been interesting. It appears that maybe things are not quite as bad as we originally thought with coronavirus, and that is good news, we hope.
Mhm.
So hopefully we're going to see a lot of this stuff normalizing. But that would have been interesting to see only SEC college football season.
Yeah.
And you were talking with me about this earlier. The kids right now are having to work through the summer in a lot of places trying to catch up so that they can graduate. I know that they had some virtual graduations around here, and they're planning for like a walking the stage next month. The thing I'm not real sure about right now is there's a lot of players who sign scholarships to play sports in college.
Mhm.
And now they don't know if some places are going to start in the fall, or it's going to be only from home or at least video. That could be interesting when you talk about red shirts and eligibility and players turning professional, because there could be some college players who are thinking, rather than sit here in the confusion of whatever the NCAA is going to do, can I just go play in the NFL? And you have maybe some unsigned players. If the NFL plays and the NCAA doesn't, I don't know how that's going to work, but what if they wanted to go play? Would they have another kind of draft or something? I mean, it could get odd because it would just be such a weird thing. Do they sit out a whole year?
Yeah, that's a detriment to it too.
Yeah, I mean, sitting out a whole year, and now what does the NFL have to go on when we have a draft coming up? Are they given another year of eligibility? I assume they would. If nobody played this year, I'd assume they get another year of eligibility. But with a game like football, where the clock is not on your side,
Yeah.
is that advantageous? I don't think it is. Hopefully everything's normal. We don't have to answer that question in any other way. But still, it was an odd thing to think about an all SEC NCAA year.
Mhm.
Would have been interesting. Fortunately, like you said, golf is deemed essential, at least in our state, and it's kind of seen as something you're doing outside, so you're not in crowds, and that you can play. I'm wondering, I've heard a lot of courses, for example, in New York, that's not the case. They're just closed completely.
Mhm.
I'm wondering when that's going to reopen.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's the thing that makes this whole thing so unique, is some areas have been hit so hard, and other areas like here in Nashville, really not much of anything.
Right.
So like the people here in Nashville were kind of like, what's the big deal? Essentially, unless you've had it or somebody that's had it, everybody's like, what's the big deal? And then if you live in New York or California or Miami or Chicago, or you're from Sao Paulo, Brazil, or you're from China, you know how bad it is. So it's a very unique time right now, for sure. So that's all for now. We got the Charles Schwab Invitational next week at Colonial will be the kickoff of what used to be Talking Golf with Virgil Herring. And stay tuned for more, and it'll be here on YouTube starting next week. You'll have a great time. Lee, tell how everybody can follow you. You're on fire right now, fresh off of USA Today, worldwide recognized relationship coach. How can people find out about you, buddy?
On YouTube, just type in Coach Lee, and you can see my channel and subscribe to that. And maybe you'll see me again here with Virgil talking sports.
We'll definitely be doing that. Well, stay tuned next week for more golf. Have a great day.